PRISMA, well, it's a research method to embody the experience of interacting, and for researchers and participants who are maybe not from research to enter into interaction processes as they research them, and to really embody them and to have an interactive experience and to analyze that as it's happening, which is different from a lot of other research on social cognition, which stays apart from the object of social cognition, researches it over there in the distance without involving yourself. And the PRISMA method brings you into the interaction and you can analyze it right there. And so researchers become their own object and instrument of the investigation. And so it's a research method and a facilitation method where people can gain insight into and awareness of their own participation dynamics. And that leads to scientific results as well as individual and group transformation.
And a research that models something about what we want to do differently in the enactive approach. I was thinking about how for me it was always present as soon as I really was able to start working and studying with you, Hanne, and with Ezekiel and others. This was from the beginning, PRISMA was introduced. Not maybe at the front, not all the time, but was there as this possibility that was still being developed to do research in a way that was participatory, that was humane, led by those involved, rigid and flexible at the same time, and deeply embodied. And we're still, all of us together here, exploring all the ways that those things work.
I imagine they get new possibilities and a lot of self-understanding. It opened up, I think, futures and ways of thinking and ways of being with others. It affords us to take a step back. It's a meta-analysis to look into things that, okay, I'm part of something that is happening here. What is happening here? What is my part on it? How am I modulating it? That's a lot. That it's both self-understanding and interaction understanding and other understanding as well.
We set up for a whole day. Yeah. I mean, we prepared materials so that the experience is really scaffolded, structured, deliberate, but also accessible. I think it's important to say we worked on translation.
During the experience, what we did was invited people to draw together on a sheet of paper and analyze the interaction that emerges when you draw together on a sheet of paper, which is a form of improvised interaction that has a trace because you see afterwards the drawing, and it also has traces in terms of the things that we write down systematically, taking different perspectives on the drawing. And there weren't only people drawing, but also people observing these interactions, and the observer forms an essential part of each group of people of two interactors and one observer, who have this interaction and then analyze it and change in terms of the perspectives they take and the roles they take in the whole situation. So it was basically people interacting and reflecting on interaction, and then also reflecting together on the interactions as they were investigating them. And so that's the whole systematic that runs through different perspectives that people take. And then at the end of it, we hope that people understand more of interactive dynamics, both individually, and that we can also see trends emerging in what happens in these participation dynamics.
And we had reflections. And then the next day we set up a whole gallery.
An exhibition of the data, looking at it all in order. And to better see what happened. And some people describe the whole narrative across what happened since the beginning of the first interactions they did, and what then they interacted with each other, and at some point over the course of what they did, a fight emerged, and then they resolved the fight towards the end. So you can describe what happened in that sense over the whole day as a as a kind of almost a narrative arc. But also each interaction that people did had significance in terms of what they could find of this interaction, for instance, produced some feeling of coordination, of harmony, but then when you try to produce it on purpose, it leads to disharmony. I'm always really surprised and taken by leading this process that people go into it and they do it. It's a strange thing to do, and yet once we're into it and we're guiding it, then people engage. They're with the thing and they're doing the interaction and doing the noting, and even though it's something that probably people have never done before, and it's like, as a process, I feel or see that it sweeps people up into it, and then they engage with it, and that's it. And at the same time, there are also still other elements happening of what usually influences how we interact with each other. And that's still ongoing as well, that the process sort of focuses in on certain things, and then meanings emerge that are new or couldn't be seen before because they weren't refracted in this way. And there's a shift happening in that research method, I think, that is acting from the being bodies that interact with each other. And I think the reason why it's like that is because it comes from practice, and it's about quality and competency in interactive practice of Feldenkrais to start with. But yeah, so I think that he relates to the goal of the research, or the aim of it, for making interactions better.